trying to beat the sun up. Grinding hard for mine to see a meal before my sun's up. All I'm saying is I'm trying to get my funds up. Gotta stay strapped, kiss these niggas.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining in another episode of Run It Back, where we highlight the area's greats from yesteryear and pretty much primarily sit down for a nice history lesson. Well, this week we're going to be featured by a gentleman that's going to pretty much give the ins and outs of the business of, high school sports. Primarily basketball, but high school sports. A lot of times, we don't get the right information. So today, we're going to get some of the ins and outs a little bit about the history of, the business of high school sports and what to expect and what's real and what's not. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome me please join me in welcoming Mr. Tavares, a.k.a. Black Campbell. How you doing, my brother?
Hey, what's going on, man? How are you?
How's everything, man?
Good. I can't complain, but I'm not one of the greats, so I want to make sure you say that real quick. I'm not one of the greats, but I appreciate it. I played against some greats, but I'm not one of them. But so hopefully we'll be able to touch on some things that some players probably need to understand. So that's an important thing.
Definitely. You said you're not one of the greats.
I'm not one of the greats. I had some good times in my years, but I'm not one of the greats.
You had a great middle school career, boy.
Yes, and that's where it stopped. That's where it stopped.
You had a great middle school career.
Yes.
But for those who don't know, why don't you just give them a brief description of what you've done and where you are today.
Obviously from Waterbury. Started at Holy Cross, finished at Sacred Heart. Mm-hmm. Went to college in Boston, finished at Southern Connecticut, played at Naugatuck Valley Community College.
Okay.
So loved the game of basketball. Obviously, it got me in tune with getting my first job at Post University back in 2005, somewhere around there. From there, I went to Cheshire Academy for a couple years and getting a job at Niagara University, to Southern Connecticut for a couple years. And now I'm working in the business side of it, where it's helping athletes get NIL deals. So that's where I'm at right now. So
awesome.
Yes.
Wow. So hey, y'all hear his resume? That's impeccable, man. So we're getting information from a credible source today.
I would say some information I do know, some more than some others, but I mean, I would say so. I would. Yeah,
for sure. What got you started in coaching?
It just, you love the game, and sometimes the crazy part about it is, you get these coaches that they have ideas, not understanding the athlete. And most important thing is the athlete, because that coach usually 98% of the time stand back. He's going to be coaching high school for the next 15, 20 years, whatever it may be.
Right.
Their investment is trying to make sure that parents are happy versus not every kid on a team is going to play college basketball.
Right.
My biggest thing is some of the coaches need to invest into the kids that was going to go off to college. Mm-hmm. My high school career was okay. I mean, it wasn't great. It wasn't, but obviously we won a state championship in high school. So my high school coach was a great educator. I don't think he gave some of the best advice and giving people the best decision, but we had some great athletes on our team. So he did what he had to do, and he did a great job doing it because he won. So as a kid, I didn't think it was the best decision, but now being in his position, he did what he was supposed to do. He won. So that got me to push to wanting to be coaching college basketball, working with kids, and giving kids every opportunity that they can do to earn a scholarship.
So now, how do you, as you said, every kid is not going to go to college.
Every kid, not for basketball.
Not for basketball.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me rephrase that.
Yes.
Every kid is not going to go to college and play basketball.
Yes.
Now, as a coach, though, how do you, number one, pour in more to those that you feel has a chance? And, you might get some scrappers on the team, but he's probably not going to make a college roster. But still, how do you pour into them to make them believe still and buy in?
It starts at home. Most important thing, it starts with the parents, mother, father. things a lot different than it was when we were younger,
Okay.
when it was a single parent household. So your mother was just basically say, don't get in trouble. Make sure
get
you
in
go out there and go play much games as possible.
Exactly.
Now you got more fathers are involved than it ever was. Probably is at an all-time high.
Right.
But now the fathers are, I probably want to say, too involved,
Okay.
where they're not allowing the coaches coach. And now they're basically saying, it's my son, my daughter, whoever it may be. My kid can play college basketball, and sometimes they bias about it. Because it's my kid. They have to understand that if your kid is 5'8", 6 feet, you're a guard.
Right.
Coach got him playing the forward. Make sure that he understands how to be a guard. Don't try
Right.
to be a forward or center neither.
Okay.
So concentrate on their art, what they can do with their best athleticism, their knowledge, their IQ.
Okay.
All those things are vital, is important. So I think the parents have to allow the coach to coach, but also get involved with the coach. Don't keep criticizing that coach did this and did that and did that and did this. And so, I mean, the coach only got 2-3 hours a day with your kid. I mean, he don't, unless he's going to come home and eat dinner and stuff like that, which 98% of the time he's not going to do it because he has his own family he need to feed too.
Exactly.
And another thing, he's doing it for free. I mean, high school coaches doing it for free. If you count the hours, less than $3 an hour, they doing it for.
Wow.
So, yeah. So
Wow.
they probably get between 5,000, 7,000 for the season, practicing 5 days a week. 98% of the time they buying Coach Argelli. I seen it. I worked with him for a couple years, buying kids Gatorade, sneakers, whatever that people don't see. So he's probably in the red at this point, Coach Argelli. So people don't see it.
It's those hidden fees.
It's a hidden fees that like picking kids up, dropping them off, making sure they get to class. So whether they need some books, whatever it is. So
Right.
I mean, and that's just a person like I worked with him on a high school level.
Right.
He's probably in the red, but he do it out of love of his heart. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
Wow. Now, and a lot of people don't see that part. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You see just the coach out there
Yeah.
blowing the whistle and controlling the time
Yeah.
that your kids is getting, but the practice, the rides home, the Gatorade, some shoes or whatever, all the little stuff that you don't see that, and at the end of the day, you only getting stipends.
that's it.
You're getting stipends.
That's all you're
So,
getting is a stipend.
Like you said, you're doing it. They're doing it for the love, and with the impact of it's great to see the fathers involved.
Yes.
I think sometimes we come across like some of the parents that, we get some that try to live through their kids or whatever.
Yes.
I don't know if that helps or hurts. I mean, I think it sometimes raises unrealistic expectations on the kid.
Yes. And that's sometimes if a parent 98% of the time, if they trying to relive through their kid, at some point they did play the sport. Maybe they didn't finish career off the way they wanted to, and maybe they trying to make sure that their kid go a little bit further than what they did. But they also have to make sure is if you failed at that level, try to put that kid in a better position to do better before he get to that level. Whether people's like, I shot the ball like this, so I'm going to shoot like this. Let somebody else do it. Be the father. Just be the father and get somebody credible that be able to work with your kid and push him to the next level. But outside that, do the basics. Just like teaching, you got to do home school and teach your kids how to be a great student.
Right.
Same thing. You can do the basics, but at some point you have to allow your kid to go.
Okay.
And let somebody else take over.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. How do you go about spotting talent?
That's good. That's a great question. Obviously, you go into camps and you kind of see it. You kind of see it with height, which is obviously it is. I mean, it doesn't necessarily. I mean, because you're 6'5" or you're 6'8" or 6'7" feet. I mean, I played against some guys that were 7 feet that probably couldn't walk and chew gum. But then you seen some kids that's probably 5'8", 5'9" that was unbelievable. It had a heart of a monster.
Yeah.
Tremont Waters is one of those guys that I seen. It was just
Yeah.
like he was unbelievable. So, and obviously made it to the NBA. But talent is basically like you can see it. Like it got to be in you. He has the it factor.
Right.
And that is just like whether you can be a best passer, a good shooter, or a good ball handler, coachable is vital. Not talking back to your coach and working hard and what you're doing things, not just on the basketball floor, what you're doing things afterwards. The 2 hours before practice, 2 hours after practice. So that talent is, and you will see it once those lights, camera, action turn on. So they make things happen for everybody.
Now, what would you say if you take a kid today versus a kid from 99, between 95 and 2000?
Wow, that's funny. That's my era to the new guys. That's now even the guys before me with the Phil Lotts, Drew Malloys, Wayne Boyettes. Those guys are unbelievable. Like even if you bring back like the guys like Phil Lott to the Drew Malloys, the Wayne Boyettes, and stuff like that, and to the guys like Edmund Saunders, right now Blizzards, to the new guys like Mustafa Heron, to Tyron Flowers, Raheem Solomon. I mean, those guys, the new guys are so much more skilled.
The new guys.
Oh yeah, they skill. Okay. The guys like Phil and all those guys, they played harder. Probably played 100 more games than these new guys are playing. These new guys are more in the gym working on their craft. Okay. The older guys are more put at war, and made sure that I hate to use the word kill. They made sure they went out and had the killer instinct.
Yeah.
The new guys just more. I think they got the more finesse, pizzazz, and stuff like that. Okay. They got the wow factor. But there's nothing wrong with it. It just they're like super skilled. They know how to get the A to B a lot quicker, faster, and know the reason why they're getting there. And you see it.
Do you think that's nowadays you get a lot of those guys from that era coming back to personal train and teach certain techniques to the younger guys today?
Yes, but even some of the guests that you had before here, they do train these young men. But the thing is, I watched John Lucas on his podcast the other day, and he basically told it's because you need to go out and play more. Like you can train guys 120 hours a day. You got to go out there and put the game in. You have to.
You got to put the work in.
Yes, because sometimes you get too many guys are like robots. I need to go here in order for that to happen.
It's got to be more instinctual.
Yes, it has to be.
Yeah.
A lot of new guys, they travel before they even take the jump shot because they hopping into their shot versus 1-2 going. Now you have an option going left or right. So I mean, you can train 3,000 hours, but if you don't put the work in, like I told you, in those older guys like the Phil Jeromes and the Wayne Boyettes, those guys put in tremendous hours at the Northern Rec, the outside courts, whatever it may be. We have probably 1 million outside courts, so you don't even see nobody out there playing anymore. So,
and that's itself is kind of like the lost art of just outside playing.
Yes.
Back in the day, I hate to say back in the day, it ages us, but back in the day, it's like you go to any court, if it's 90 degrees, or it could be 60 degrees, 50 degrees, sometimes snow, but you see people out there, especially in the summertime. These courts is packed, with people waiting for next.
And that was pre-cell phone, so somehow you just found out where everybody was playing. So it's definitely different. I mean, obviously everybody need to get in the gym, and they say they want to get in the gym, and they paying these trainers, which is no problem. Now these parents is forced to come out of their pocket to pay a trainer, which is a lot of money putting on these parents and these kids. Somehow they say, I don't want to do it anymore. Oof. At that point, you got all types of names called at you. At that point, you don't want to do it. Like, dude, I invested too much money. At this point, you got to keep going.
You better do it.
Yes, you better do it. And so there is no giving up at that point. But it's definitely a lot of the business side of it is just the kids has to understand their value and what the value is put in place in front of them as far as their parents putting money into their pockets.
So kind of like to get on like the scouting, right?
Yeah.
If you're scouting for that athlete to come to your college.
Yes.
Now, understanding this, we have different levels. We got D1, D2, D3.
Yeah.
Right? Depending on whatever level you're coaching at, and you go to some of these camps, how do you identify one as he's definitely a D1 prospect or he's D2 or like how do you identify what level a kid might be in, or you just go out and try to get the best?
Obviously, Division I has Power 5, high major, mid major, and low major basketball. And there's about 451 schools in the country, and a couple more is about to move up.
Okay.
So probably the next 4 or 5 years, probably going to be almost 500 Division I schools in the country.
500.
It's probably going to be somewhere. So you're talking about 13 scholarships per school. And they continue to get rotated every year no matter what. It's not like one goes out, another one comes in, unless somebody get a penalty in between it. Division IIs is almost like 200 Division IIs in the country. So you can get a scholarship between Division II and Division I. Division III, there is no scholarship. There's absolutely no scholarship. They'll find a way where they put financial aid in place and put a package together where you're not getting no services and your parents is not paying any money at that point. But there is no aid. The funny part about it is when you hear kids say, I committed, and they commit to like Western Connecticut. It's like, dude, there's no scholarship. There's no need to commit. But yeah, they're sick. You can't. There's no need to say I committed. Like, just you're going to school to be a student and you're playing basketball.
Right.
And it's okay, but you're playing basketball. But they might give you money too. But it's no scholarship.
No scholarship.
No, it's all financial aid. Financial aid. But at Division I and Division II, that's the business. 110% business at that point. Division I, I'll touch upon that where you get cost of attendance check based on whatever institution you might be at.
Okay.
So even I think it was, I'm a diehard UConn guy, so I think it was Shabazz Napier, I think it was, or it was Kemba Walker, when they basically stated that they came home from practice or a game that they couldn't eat. They were hungry, whatever it may be. So at that point, NCAA implemented that these kids need to get some type of funds in order to eat.
What do you mean, like that goes to them?
Oh, it goes straight to them. It goes straight to them.
Oh.
So every month they'll get a cost of attendance check. And based off whatever institution, the number can go high or low. It could be a couple $100, whatever it is. That could pay your cell phone. You get some food for your refrigerator inside your room, extra snacks. But 99.9% of the time or 100% of the time, on the Division I level, they have replenish station inside each locker room or inside where kids can come in there and make sure that they having food, snacks, Gatorades. Nonstop. Just because each school makes sure that their athletes are taken care of in that part. And that's not counting the cost of attendance checks. Another thing is, like what I'm doing now is NIL at that point. So now the NIL is where Open Doors set a platform where funds has to go through Open Doors. And Open Doors, obviously, NCAA is partnering with Open Doors to make sure that everything is clear. Therefore, no athlete is getting paid illegally like it was
like
when we were
like
younger.
Under the table.
Yes. So everything is on the books.
On the books.
Yes. So it's making sure that these athletes can get some funds in another direction. That's not counting the cost of attendance check. So
that's an addition to.
That's an addition. So they can make their own dollar amount at that point. I mean, for instance, one of our own, Andre Johnson Jr. He worked with Degree. He obviously got a check from Degree. He's doing a Invisalign deal with a lot of people and stuff like that. And he also did Powerade. So, and that's just somebody locally doing it at UConn. Donovan Klingon, that's from Bristol. He has Stephen Auto Mall in Bristol. So, and you've probably seen tons of billboards sitting up on the highway on 84. So, these are avenues that these kids can get paid X amount of dollars right now.
Now, how do you have to have certain stats to qualify?
No.
Social media presence?
No, that's it. You hit it right in the nose.
Social media presence.
That's it.
That's it.
And social media presence where these athletes, because you can't just give it to them. They have to do something for it. Whether you give them $25 to $150, $180. You can, prime example, run it back and say, I want to give, for instance, Andre Johnson Jr. $120, $125 to advertise Run It Back. And he has to post that on his social media page in order for this to happen. And that's the way he gets his funds on a month basis. So, and they can make whatever they want. So,
really?
Yes.
So every kid on the team don't get an NIL deal.
Every kid on the team is eligible for an NIL deal. Not every kid on the team has an NIL deal.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're eligible. Once you go into college, you're eligible for an NIL deal.
From Division II or Division III?
Division II, too. In college, period, you can do it.
Okay.
Once you walk in the NCAA, once you're an NCAA athlete. So it could be Division III to Division I. So that'd be another avenue if Division III athlete saying, you know what, you're not getting the funds that the Division I is getting. Because Division II don't get a cost of attendance check.
No.
But you see, it breaks down and stops. The Division I is getting the cost of attendance checks plus the NIL deal, the cost, and plus the scholarship. Division II can get the NIL deal in the scholarship. Division III can get the NIL deal and just the Pell Grant, financial aid.
Okay.
So they also still get the Pell Grant and all that stuff back at Division I and the Division II. So there's many ways that these guys can get some type of finances broken off to them where they coming home for college after 4 years. Whether the institution costs $70,000, $80,000, they still, in their 4 years, they probably walked out with $70,000, $80,000 in their pocket if they manage it right.
In their pocket?
If they manage it right, they can. It could be more. I mean, it's just... Yeah. So, I mean, cost of attendance checks to Pell Grants to NIL deals, they can make some serious amount of money.
So, NIL is relatively new.
Yes.
I remember, like, back in the days, like, you got the O'Bannon brothers that was fighting for, getting some type of compensation for their likeness that was being displayed on the video games and stuff like that, and even the jerseys.
Yeah.
That's with Jalen Rose, the Fab Five, and all of them. So my question is this, like, how, being that it's new, and they're getting paid month to month.
Yep.
So obviously it can go up.
Yes.
But it can also come down if you're not producing.
Well, it's not necessarily it could go down. It's obviously the numbers are already set.
Okay.
For each each athlete set their number whatever they want. I'm not saying each athlete gonna get it.
Okay.
But if they pour out and obviously if people and the viewers want to go out and go on open doors, and you can figure out any athlete, whether it's a track star to baseball, softball, volleyball, whatever it may be. Each of these athletes have the platform of open doors where they can be able to reach and get X amount of dollars, whatever they do. But I'm not saying they're going to get that money. But to them, that's their value.
Okay.
Being that value, obviously, if they're not producing, now the question is, say if they got 10 deals just came in, and they're not producing, that might get down to 4.
Got you.
So, and is based on, and not based off production, is based off their likeness. Whether you out there performing on social media, whether you got 20,000 followers, whatever it may be, because your job is to make sure that that company, whoever's pushing for you, somehow that money's getting reciprocated.
For them
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
And because everybody has money, but nobody wants to. They don't got to give it away neither if they don't need to. So
true.
Yeah, but everybody wants to give. Believe it, I tell you that. There's a lot of people want to give, and which is a great thing. Is out there to give away. You write it off at the end of the year. So.
Right. Right. It's crazy because we hear about like the populars, the Bronny James, and those guys that got the big NIL deals, but and those are like worth millions.
Yes, millions.
You know what I'm saying? But then you get, like you said, on the local level, you can still
make money,
make some money.
Yes.
And at the end of 4 years or how many years you do in college, you're not necessarily in debt.
Yes, not in debt at all.
You're not in debt, so now you're playing. You're up above, as opposed to most of us when you go to school, you're in debt. You got the student loans, you got all this. No, you're actually some guys can make money where they don't need the league. Or,
absolutely.
You know, if they manage it right, if they they produce enough NIL money, you might make it just on that.
Absolutely. And the biggest piece on that, even though, I mean, now that you're saying that, is especially coaching these kids, some of these kids are very into themselves in a sense where they got social media, but they play the video game at 20,000 hours a day. I mean, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how these kids do it. They live on a video game. So they don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to do business much, period. So I think once they learn that art, they'll be 100 light years than what we were. Because they're given more opportunities than we ever had at that point.
Right.
But these kids are gifted, but they got to learn how to be outgoing, talk to people, make sure that these deals close. Because usually it's people like myself is out there making sure I close these deals for these young athletes. But and that's the biggest piece. But they have to do their part.
They got to do their
part too, because they the one going to go into the interview, not me. Those are guys. Obviously, if you go to the NBA, MLB, those guys going to interview, not me at all. I'm there just trying to make sure I close it at that point, and make sure I meet the vendors. But they have to go out there and really close the deal also. So,
what about at some point you think it's going to trickle down to high schools?
It is. Is there high schools like? I think Mikey Williams had a good deal. Obviously, he got into trouble, but Mikey Williams, Bronny James had one. I think he had a video game.
School?
Yeah, like those guys are already marked to go to the NBA at that point. So I don't know if it was necessary through open doors. Open doors is more in the college setting. But they were getting NIL deals in high school at that point. Like even if a local kid at Kennedy Crosby Wilby or Holy Cross, or Career. Obviously, we got 5 high schools here.
Caner too.
Caner Tech. I apologize here.
Yeah, come on now.
We never counted you guys, so you guys are always on the road. So I mean, I forgot you guys are over there. So you make me laugh on that. But these guys can get deals through even local restaurants to. Local car dealerships. Like these guys want to sponsor a kid, not necessarily has to be in a financial way, but they can say, hey, listen, I want to go sponsor a kid and give him 2-3 pair of sneakers this year. Therefore, it can help these kids grow business-wise. I mean, because we have some good athletes in this town, by all means necessary, with Elijah Parker to Zaire Lott to who else? I think
we got Jordan Gunthrop.
Jordan's pretty good. He's over at Holy Cross, very good point guard.
We're actually going to have him on today.
Yes. Franklin Pierce, which is a good friend of mine, fell in love with him a couple weeks ago. I think he had a 30-point game. Jordan's playing his lights out at this point. So, another is the point guard at Career. Love him to death. I think he's phenomenal. So, I mean, we definitely have some really good athletes in this town. We really do. And if the city get behind it like it was 20, 30 years ago, whatever it may be, I mean, it would be exciting. The sad part about it is half of the bleachers is only taken out, which is like is bad. I mean, obviously, we used to have player passes when the student body used to go to the game.
Yes.
The local guys within the community used to support the games.
The games be jam-packed with everybody.
Yes.
And it's crazy because I went to a game last week, and I'm sitting there, and my brother was like, yo, didn't it used to be like the bleachers? No, it used to be all those bleachers coming down.
Yes.
Everybody on both sides is filled up.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it was like a universal thing. Like,
it come to a point where it looked like we were dinosaurs, and these guys are like we extinct because that looked like an elementary school basketball game when you go watch it. So even from the college perspective, it kind of is a turnoff on us. Like, that means there is nobody here really to watch.
Tuning in.
Yes. So is kind of the city still has to get behind these kids.
Sure.
At one point, like I said, when I worked with Coach Argelli up at Crosby, you couldn't find a seat in that place.
Yeah.
Like it was
Jam
showtime.
Yeah.
With the BJ, the Damien, to Julian, to Bootsy, and he had a great supporting cast in between her.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Anthony Ireland.
Ireland.
I can't forget him. One of the best point guards ever came out here.
Oh man.
So
Beast.
yes, the best point guard ever come out here. But they literally they set the tone. So and obviously Sacred Heart, you couldn't get in games over there at that point also.
Right.
But it just the local guys gotta come back in. Obviously there's a lot of things going on within the city that if you get the local guys, again, like I think I spoke with you earlier when Wilby went to the state championship with was Jordan Craig and
Julio.
They had in that team. They had like Marcus Robinson and Terrence Lott on the sideline. And those guys have great voices in the inner city where they had a lot of respect, where the younger kids knew
who they were.
Yeah, they were like big brother, uncle.
Yeah.
I think they call Unc now.
Yeah.
So they were like that. Those guys where they got respect within it, and now that I think what they've done at Wilby, because Wilby haven't been there in 100 years, I think the city have to make some type of platform where you get guys like Marcus and Terrence
able to come back.
They have to allow those guys to come back.
Yeah.
Because that's going to allow that seating to get back in place. That's going to allow that kid to turn around their behavior in the classroom.
Because I think they can relate to the younger,
absolutely,
as opposed to some of these coaches that's
absolutely
up there in age.
110%.
You know,
so they have to allow that, and that's got to come with the city. That has to come with the coaches. Okay. That's on the sideline. That's also again, we have some coaches that have been around for 40 years, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And their voices is still a voice. There's nothing wrong with it. They still have the great ideas, but they have to be able to come with the times.
Right.
The times is turning.
You got to transcend.
They have to. So I think that time is now, because at the end of the night, if you go watch a Crosby game, the light bill is still going to be the same. Why not fill the stands?
Why not fill the stands?
Why not sell extra candy in the concession stand?
Yeah.
And the same thing with Wilby and Kennedy. I mean, obviously Kennedy have a young coach with Armin and Terrence Morrison over there, so I think they'll be fine. So they'll be able to relate to those kids. But with our other two high schools, and I know Hank is still over at Kennedy, they have to find a way where. Yes, I apologize, Kaner.
He's dogging Kaner today.
I'm sorry, man. Kaner has some good athletes. I'm gonna take that back. I do need a house being built soon. So.
Oh, you got jokes on us.
Hey, no, man. I'm an investor, so I love Kaner at this point. I wish I'd have went there, believe it or not, especially what I'm doing now in life. But it's definitely like allowing those individuals to come back into their space.
No, for sure.
Because those folks are still involved in AAU.
Right.
Taking these kids and whether they basically doing it for free too.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I know sometimes this city is small. We got 20 AAU teams in the city. I might be exaggerating, but and somehow it seemed like they all come into war at some point because this AAU better than this AAU. Hey, listen, dude, we all from the city of Waterbury. Let's get together at one team like Wayne Simone had it for.
So you think they should condense?
They have to. They have to. And that's the reason why, if you look at in the last 4 to 5 years, we haven't had really a highly recruited. I think the last highly recruited player to come out here was Mustafa Heron. And I mean, Sacred Heart probably had 4 or 5, 6 guys went Division I out of there. But outside that, I know Crosby had their turn and stuff like that. But Wilby haven't had it. Kennedy haven't had it. But they have to find a way where you get all these athletes on one team, and they have to break it down in tiers. Are you going to play with the A team, B team, C team? And the coaches has to come together, whether who's going to coach the A team, B team, or C team. In order for that to happen, that's when the sneaker deals come in. And now it's not. These coaches are paying, raising money in order for these kids to go here, and because at the end of the night, you're doing it for the kids.
You're doing it for the kids, right?
Can my son go off to school for free?
For free.
Division II or Division I. When they don't go, it's just like you're doing a circle all over again. So put them all together on one team because we have enough talent. We had always, I thought Waterbury always had some of the best talent in a state for at least 20 years, and obviously is going down, obviously. But is definitely these guys need to condense these teams together. I know they got CT Ballers, they got CT Ballers. It's like CT Rebounds. It's too many CTs at this point. It's just I know they still have Select. I think they still got Select.
I think they still got.
They got Select, right?
Yeah.
And it's probably like 4 or 5 more of them. But it's at some point I'd be thinking they all the same anyway. But they need to put all these athletes and get behind the brand itself. And whoever come up with that brand, they need to move with.
And you think if they did that, you said like the sneaker deals and stuff like that.
Sneaker deals come right in. I think the sneaker deals stop when Wayne stopped.
Okay.
And which I think would be a great guest to have by all means necessary if you can get him here. He's a great basketball mind. That get here, literally, it changes the game. These kids get scholarships, and that's what these parents want anyway. They want their kids going away.
But truth be told, like Wayne, you get the sneakers, and then he put you in some of these tournaments.
Yes.
Get eyes on you.
Yes.
Which helps with scholarships.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So and it was just him.
It was just him. That's it.
You know what I mean? So now when you look back, it's funny you say that because now when you look back, it's like, wow, it was just him getting some of the the guys around here, and then now, like you said, we got all these different teams.
Yes.
How do you pick out all these different teams?
And that's the sad part about you can't say you still got this kid raising money, you still got him doing that. But the thing is, what Wayne did that you said, because I worked for him for a couple of years while he was doing it, and it was my turn after I graduated high school and went off to college. Like me being 19 years old, and I'm taking a van driving to D.C. with a bunch of kids, and these kids probably like 17 or 8 or 17 and 16, and he's entrusting us driving this kid to D.C. And if you think about it, like that's almost 5 hours. Along with Freddie Fox, Jason Johnson, we're in a car together, just driving these kids straight down. And then you obviously running tournaments, so the Charlie Weber tournaments to blah, blah, blah. He just had us all over the place. So, but in that aspect, I know Marcus coached some teams, T-Lock coached some teams, Coach Brown coached some teams, and some other coaches across the state coached some teams. Mm-hmm. These guys got to be able to do the same thing.
Exactly.
So, I mean, use what he did and use the same thing. I mean, you coach the 17 to 18, 19. Bring these guys up. And with that, going with that is the same thing because about time they get to college, it's like you got too many different coaches, too many different ideas. And about time you get to college, you're like, where did you learn that? Yeah. And that's from because you're wrong. Now you got to bring the kid back to square one. Right. So is a system. It's like Ansonia and Naugatuck and Southington. They run their football program. Every kid stayed together all the way through.
All the way through.
They with the same system.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
and it shows.
It shows. They in the state championship every year.
It shows. Yeah.
Naugatuck is good every year in football. Ansonia and same Southington. So and same thing with Cheshire. But these kids stay together. You got to teach the kid versus pulling the kid, blah, 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 because at that point you don't really hurt them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, this is my kid. That's my kid.
Exactly.
No, listen, they all kids from the city of Waterbury. Make sure that they go to school for free. So that's all that happens.
So, in terms of the business of high school sports, I know when we was talking on the phone, we touched upon a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
What's your, do you think reclassifying will help those kids secure some of those deals moving forward?
Ooh, reclassifying is huge right now. There's a lot of kids in high school that's 17 years old.
Okay.
And it ain't that they getting cheated.
Okay.
They actually cheating themselves in this sense. And the reason being because I worked at prep school for 3 or 4 years, and there's night and day between that athlete. And that athlete is probably 19 and 20 years old at that point because now he reclassified. He might have reclassified twice.
Okay.
So he's going into college as a grown man. And literally his body has changed. His understanding of the game of basketball has changed. His IQ is off the charts. Now you versus getting a 17-year-old kid coming straight out of high school. It's not like it was. Yeah. Again, I'm going to go back to the field a lot. Jerome, those guys are 17 years old, 18 years old, coming out of high school. These new guys are like coaches are recruiting that 19, 20-year-old boy. He don't want that, or man, I apologize. He don't want that 17. No, he's still this kid's 17 years old coming into high school right now. Like he walking in 17 years old.
Coming
into high school. Like
at
some kids almost they might be 17, 16 turning 17. Or it might be a sophomore at 17 somewhere at that point. Like, for instance, Zaire Lott, about 6'4", 6'5". 10, 15 years ago, maybe about 10, 15 years ago, he's a Division I basketball player. He could shoot the ball. He could jump out the gym. Solid ball handler. And he has the eye test. He has everything that a coach would say. But his body frame still look like a 17-year-old kid versus
he's still growing.
Exactly, he's still growing. So he might maturate in the next 2 years, but at that point, like a kid like him, I think he'd do a year of prep school.
Okay.
Or if he reclassified in 7th grade or 8th grade at that point, and he's going off to he'd be about 18, 19 going off now. His body frame might change. Gotcha. And next you know, his IQ changed. Everything's changed. Now he's 6'5". He's going out into the AAU world. Next you know, you got every mid-major calling his phone.
Trying to get, okay.
So I think if he do a year of prep school right now, I think he's going to be a Division I basketball player or a scholarship player. Okay. He's definitely be a scholarship player because he has the eye test.
Okay.
The kid Drew, that's the other point guard. I apologize. Drew, he's another 17-year-old senior, but he reminds me of a young Terrence Lott, stocky, a little bit out of shape, but his body's not ready to play college basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, like, because college coaches is a business also on that side. It's not just they want to go to the Division I level. Division I wants to go to a high major. Like, you got Power 5 coaches getting paid $5 million a year. Yeah, exactly. $5 million a year. And that's not counting their sneaker deal that they will have or anything like that.
Not counting the sneaker deal.
No. So it's such a business where so much money is being poured into, whether from AU to high schools, that these kids have to make sure that they put in, even the parents are doing it, they put in paying the trainer. So these kids have to understand that value, what's going on. It's not just, I'm out here playing basketball.
So that 17-year-old, he can actually, so now would you say prep school?
He has to go to prep. Once you graduate high school, you have to go to prep.
You got to go to prep school.
You're done. You can't
get your body right. And
they will get your body right. I mean, I hate to say it in that terms. I don't know, whoa or pause, whatever you want to call it at that point. So I got to be cautious.
They get your conditioning.
Yeah, they get conditioning.
You up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that. They definitely will have you in the gym constantly developing your frame, speed, athleticism to jumping out the gym and just putting in countless hours.
Then that brings your stock up.
Yes, and I've seen it. I witnessed it. I worked it.
Okay.
So it's that part, but if I'm a parent now, I have a son, and if I have to do it, my son will probably most likely, because if you don't do it, you really, again, like I told you, you cheating yourself, because you got a 17-year-old kid playing against a 19-year-old kid, and now you're wondering why the scout's not looking at my son. Gotcha. Don't stop criticizing it's the system. You have to go.
What about, so what do you say to the parent that's concerned where, if I reclassify my kid and then by the time he's actually a junior, he say, I don't want to play no more. Or a senior, I don't want to play no more.
If he reclassifying he has to be part of the deal. He has to understand what the stipulations is.
Okay.
And get a lot of parents like, well, what if my son? But every kid shouldn't reclassify. That's the thing. Like, it's not meant for every kid to do it. It's just like we talked about in the beginning. Every kid is not meant to play basketball in college.
Right.
So if the kid has a chance of playing in college for free,
if they have a chance,
a chance, which is good. Not every kid, and it's tough to say that every kid don't have a chance, but as a parent, you know if your kid is a singer or not, right? I mean, real quick, like son, daughter, choose
karaoke.
Yeah, stick to that. Stick to the shower. Stay in there a little bit longer if you have to. But you as a parent has to judge that before you make that opportunity for say, hey, listen, we need to reclassify. Okay. Because it's not meant for, like, one of my friends' sons say, hey, I want to go to prep school. I'm not blowing 40 grand on you, son. Like, I give you 40, 50 grand, but after you graduate, but I'm not blowing 40 grand on you. Boy, are you serious? That because everybody's doing anything, you gonna do this? Hell no, you ain't doing this. But because it's not meant for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
No.
Okay.
It's meant for a selective few of athletes that have that it factor. They just wasn't given enough time because the system took advantage of them at that point. When I was younger, obviously, I think I told you earlier, Will Solomon was in my class, and Will Solomon obviously went over to the NBA and led the NCAA in scoring for a couple years. But Will reclassified. It wasn't one of the biggest things to do back then. It was just undetected. Now it's a norm. And if you don't take advantage of the norm, you actually lose at that point.
So if you don't take advantage of it, if you have that it factor, you're causing yourself more of a disservice, is what you're saying?
Absolutely. You got to do it in middle school. Don't do it in high school. You do it in high school, that's when the money's going to come in at that point where you need to go to prep school. So, because you can't reclassify in high school. You have to transfer to go to a post-grad school like a Cheshire Academy, to Winchendon, to South Kent, St. Thomas More, like schools in that factor, which is within the area, to order to become a freshman, sophomore all over again. But reclassify once in middle school or 8th grade, somewhere around there. Do it early, and then you'll be able to see. You should be able to gauge as a parent.
The only thing is with that, it's, we have some late bloomers.
Yes, you do.
And in terms of height,
yes,
you could be a small 8th grader, middle schooler, and then sophomore year you sprout to 6'4".
Yes.
And talent-wise, you might be average.
Yes.
6th, 7th grade.
Yeah.
But then boom, by junior year you turn into something special.
Absolutely.
So how do you gauge that? Like, is
it
luck?
No, it's not luck. I mean, you definitely have to make sure, again, like I said, with being the parent, but they ranking kids in 7th, 8th grade at this point. So it's like he's about the 8th grade in the country or state at that point. So if you feel like you're getting some type of pub and you have an opportunity to, you might be that next big thing. Okay. That's when the business kicks in at that point.
That's when the business.
Yeah, okay. But like, hey, Ma, I want to reclassify. Bro, you ain't that good, bro. Like, get your ass to go to school. That's what you're gonna do. Get your ass and get. Excuse my language. Hopefully, I didn't say anything wrong. But you going to school. That's what you're gonna do. Okay. You're gonna graduate at 17, finish college at 21. Karan Butler, with freshman year at UConn, was at 21. 20. Yeah. See, yeah. Wow. Yeah. OJ Mail was 22. Wow. Yes. See, like, it's.
So it's certain people.
And
could it be that they're on a different coast, that they're kind of like sped up on that?
That's universal. I mean, you getting and it's the business. I mean,
because we're thinking now we're going back 20-something years.
Yeah, it's a business, and those are people that you didn't see. You catching even. I mean, obviously through the game of basketball, you get the Africans they come across. I mean, you like, dude, there's no way in the world he's 14. Dude, you 7'2", and you 14, really? But that's what the birth certificate say. But I mean, is some kids that reclassified 6 times in the city already. I'm exaggerating on that, but is people that's reclassified enough, and obviously they're gonna get granted the opportunity to play Division I basketball. It just and it will be for free.
It'll be for free.
It'll be free.
If the stock is good, now
Yes.
we got the NILs.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it can increase their NIL stock.
Yes, everything is, but they has to be outgoing too on social media. They have to be able to make that push. It's not like that because you're a Division I athlete, you're gonna get an NIL deal. You got to be an outgoing individual.
Outgoing.
You have
Okay.
to. That's part of the stipulations. You have to because no one's just gonna throw you $120 every
so
month.
you can actually be not the star, but a fan favorite.
Fan favorite and get paid well. They get paid. Some of them get paid more than the coaches.
Fan favorite.
Yes, you get paid well. Get paid well, super well. Like a thing with the reclassified, like Cooper Flagg, he reclassified.
Okay.
I think he was a 17, 18-year-old senior. He's going to be obviously
he's
going off to
putting in
Duke.
work right
yes,
now.
he's going off to Duke.
Yep.
He reclassified down, and obviously his stock went to the roof. And they said, you're going off to college now. So he basically had technically another year to do in high school. And obviously with the recruitment came in, obviously they pulled him out and said, you're ready to go now.
Really?
Yes. So the reclassifying could work in your favor.
Okay.
So you can take advantage of now he's probably paying 16U and Kill. They say this kid is like that good. He can go now. He was the number 1 recruit regardless of class. He
Okay.
was. So people have to understand that reclassifying is huge. Is take advantage of it. If me as a parent, I hopefully it's not as bad as it is now in the next 15 years when my son get old enough, but I'm going to take advantage of it. You have to. If not, you at loss.
You got a loss. Now, what would you say the percentage of athletes that become pros?
Less than 1%.
Less than 1%.
Yeah, but the piece on that, the word pro means you get paid for your job.
You get paid.
That's whether you get paid
for
a dollar.
services.
Yes, and the funny part about it is even NCAA being in the NIL deals, the amateur athlete, and technically they're considered amateurs, but they also getting paid.
That's what I was going with.
Yes,
So
they also getting paid. So, in essence, they are pros. They have to treat themselves as professionals and do things as professionals. But outside, once they leave college, is less than 1% become a pro athlete.
less than 1%.
Less than 1%.
Wow.
Yes.
So you actually have to have talent,
Of course.
connections.
Well, I don't know if
Connections do
you
it?
you need luck, resilience, and connections might help, but connections when you're good, you're good. That connections only sometimes I see the connections get you into college sometimes, like the deals in between there. But when it comes time professional at that point, that connection is out the window because if you ain't good, it
don't matter.
It don't matter. The best will rise. The cream will rise to the top. So that's what happens at that level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what do you say the percentage of, because less than 1% become professionals
Yes.
on the big stage.
Yes.
What would you say the percentage of those that can actually secure a scholarship?
A lot.
Okay.
A lot. Again, if you do, I think it's 7,200 scholarships are being recycled every year. Recycled, 7,200 on Division I. So you're probably talking about 12,000 total with Division II and Division I. So you probably 5%.
Okay.
So that's hard too, getting a scholarship. So people have to value that. It's not like, again, it might help out even with the kids locally at this point when they say, oh, my kid is the best point guard here. Hey, listen, even if your kid is the number 2 point guard in the city, here's another school might want your kid. That's like that one scholarship is just for that kid. So, there's a bunch of scholarships out there, and the kids just can't say if they want him, I might always give up.
Right.
There's room for you somewhere.
Somewhere.
It is room for you somewhere, some shape, somehow, some form. So you just got to continue to work. But there's scholarships out there. Guys just have to go, and Gales got to go out and put in the work. They have to, because it is there. Is there for them.
Wow. Black, Tavares, you.
Well, I don't know how black I am on the screen, but hopefully he gave me a little light. I think he got some lights up here.
You shining,
yeah, okay, all right.
Got the peach going.
Oh, well, I want to call it camel pink. Don't peach. I mean,
camel pink.
Now you got jokes. I see.
Oh man.
Yes, man.
But you definitely dropped a ton of gems. Just in giving the parents some insight on what they're up against, what you need to do.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of times we go into these, these sports arenas blind. If you don't know the ins and outs, you're just thinking, oh, okay, my son's playing and boom, boom. But, when you realize the business of it, it's like, wait a minute, hold on, let's take a step back.
Yeah.
Do we really have something here?
Yes.
Or,
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said too, when it comes to reclassifying, like the kid got to be involved in that conversation.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
hey, this is a business for all of us.
Yes.
You're the catalyst
yes.
to it, but this, we're all kind of like involved. It's like a team effort in making that decision. And just the importance of knowing the business of sports now. I think a lot of times the older generations, we was pretty much going through blind.
Yes.
And trying to figure things out as we went.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now we have more information. We have more resources. We have more people such as yourself that can come back and school the masses out there with the information that It's just us to take advantage of it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Take heed, and do your research. Do your due diligence.
Yes.
Do your research. Because at the end of the day, it's for the kids.
It's for the kids.
It's for the kids.
Yeah. We're done. Our time is done. I mean, give it to the kids and make generations and generations continue to go.
Yeah.
So stop. Parents, stop. You're not going pro anymore. It's done over with. I know. I hear in your on your show a lot who's the best players and things like that. Is crazy, but it's done and over with. But guys, let the kids be the next.
Let the kids be the next.
So.
If you had any gem that you want to share for the people before we sign out, what would you like to tell them?
Just if anything I can say is just more or less work hard and make sure you put in the work. And if you continue to do that, great things will happen. It don't necessarily has to be going pro or you earned that scholarship, you done something well. You took off. The average school going to cost probably $70 to $80,000 a year. You taking off us $320,000 off your parents' table. So that might come back to you 10, 20 years from now, and you purchase a house at that point. You have an opportunity where you can make money, earn a scholarship, get a job after college, and have a great life. You can still make six figures in life and without bouncing a basketball or catching a football or throwing a baseball. So things can happen. You can have a great life. So that would be my gym. Just continue to work hard.
Definitely. Hey, listen. Black man, thanks for, blessing us with this information, with this knowledge. And I always tell people, man, it's a history lesson when we have our guests sit here and chop it up with us, especially those from yesteryear.
Yeah.
I thank you. You know what I'm saying? I'm a huge fan of what you're doing, man. You know what I'm saying? We need more gentlemen like yourself to keep, pushing the needle forward.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So, without anything else, we're signing off.
Thank you.
I'm Eric Lewan from Run It Back.
Eric Lewan. Wow, he brought that back. We grew up in the same projects. I didn't know if I called him Lewan on station, but I'm going to go with that. His name is Lewan. I don't think I want to be called Lewan as a man. I'm going to go with Eric. But thank you, City of Waterbury. I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Signing out. Hey, thanks for joining in, guys. We'll talk to you soon.